Okay, so basically I am, oh my god, are you kidding me right now? Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, then hi, my name is Boomy and I make videos about pretty much anything. I thought I was making videos about medical school, but I kind of stopped making videos and now I'm just making videos about everything, so hi. In this video, I'm going to be talking about how it felt like to grow up as a third culture kid, and I also have some questions that I was asked on Instagram about being a third culture kid that I'm going to answer. So for those of you who don't know what a third culture kid means, it's basically someone who has grown up in a culture that's different than their parents' nationality or their parents' culture. And it can also mean someone who has like spent a significant part of their childhood growing up in a country that does not belong to them, if that makes sense. So I thought I'll just start by kind of explaining my childhood and why I am a third culture kid, and then I will answer the questions that I got. So basically, I am Indian by origin, but I have an Indonesian passport and I grew up in Indonesia. So a part of me feels like I'm more Indonesian than I am Indian, but then sometimes I also feel like I'm more Indian than I am Indonesian. So it's this kind of like big question in my head, like where am I really from and who am I? Like, I hate when people ask where are you from, because it's such a loaded question. Like, how am I supposed to answer that? Yeah, so my dad's family have lived in Indonesia for more than 70 years. So his entire family lived there. He grew up there, he was born there, everything. I grew up in Indonesia as well, and yeah, like I lived there for 9 years, and then my family and I moved to China. So I then lived in China for 4 years in Shanghai, and then after that we moved to India, but not like where we're from. We moved to a completely like different random city where I lived for 4 years again. That was in Bangalore. And then when I was 17, I finished high school and I moved to the UK for 3 years, where I did my undergraduate degree. And then after that, for a year, I was kind of everywhere. Like, I was here in Malaysia for a bit visiting family, and then I went to India to do an internship, which ended up being like cut short because of the pandemic. And then I was in Indonesia for a while, and then I started uni here in Malaysia, but I was in Indonesia for the first semester because lockdown. So yeah, I have lived in 5 countries, and I have kind of absorbed like cultures and norms of all of these countries I've been in. So I kind of feel like I'm a part of all of these cultures, but at the same time also feel like I'm not a part of any of these cultures. So yeah, one thing that I guess I realized about being a third culture kid is growing up, because I was always around other third culture kids, I didn't really consider myself to be different. But then when I went to the UK to study like at university, that was when people started asking me like questions that are kind of problematic, but they would say things like, oh, why do you speak English so well? Like, where are you from? You must be from America. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I just went to an international school all my life, and so I've always been taught in English. Like, majorly I speak English, even though I speak other languages as well. So yeah, I didn't think it made me different. And then I went to the UK and I was like, wait a minute, like, this is weird. So yeah, I guess moving to the UK was kind of an eye-opener, because it made me realize that, wait, like, it's not normal for people to just like live everywhere and absorb cultures and just be so used to moving and whatever. Because I remember like many people I met in the UK would say to me, like, would ask me, how are you so used to just moving around? Like, isn't that weird? And I'm like, no, like, yes, I don't know. And then they would also just kind of assume that I just really loved living everywhere and loved moving around, which is kind of like half true, I guess. I did love that I've lived in different countries and I've experienced different things and I can speak many languages, but I also feel like I kind of lost that, like, you know, when you grow up with like a group of friends and then they just become your like friends for life. Like, I don't have that, and sometimes I kind of like, I have good friends, but when I think of it, sometimes I'm like, it would have been nice to have like that group of friends that you grew up with and you've like been to the same school with for like ages, and then, you know, whatever, I don't know, I don't really know what I'm saying anymore. But yeah, that is where I've lived and my background, I guess. So now I'll just answer the questions that I got. Okay, so the first question was, would you say that being a TCK has been an advantage at times? Yes, like, I definitely have to say yes to this, because I would say like the part of my childhood I remember the most is when I lived in Shanghai, because that was when I was 9 to 13, and being that age, you just pick up things really quickly. So I picked up the language really quickly, and then when I moved to India, I continued learning and speaking Mandarin. So yeah, I was like, now my Mandarin's kind of gone bad because when I moved to the UK, I didn't really use it. But when I moved to the UK and I got a part-time job, there were a lot of Chinese students, and they wouldn't expect that I could speak Mandarin. And like, there were times when they would be talking about something and then I forget that I'm understanding what they're saying and they don't know that, and I would respond and then they just look really confused. So yeah, it's kind of funny. And then once they were like insulting me and I understood it, and then I kind of like stood up for myself in English, and then they were like, I'm so sorry, I didn't know you would understand. And then I was just kind of like, yeah, well, I did. So that happened. But yeah, so I definitely think it's been an advantage. And anyway, speaking multiple languages is an advantage on its own. So I think, yeah, it has definitely been an advantage. But on the other hand, this next question makes a very good point. How do you cope with the feeling that you don't belong? This is kind of a big like issue for me. I've always sort of felt like an outsider wherever I go, and like, when I'm in Indonesia, I don't feel Indonesian enough to be like considered Indonesian. But then when I'm in India, I don't feel Indian enough to be considered Indian. So I've always kind of felt like I don't belong anywhere. And I know I'm not the only one that feels that way. Like, I know sometimes my siblings feel that way too. So it's like nice that we have each other in that. But it is definitely a tough feeling, like feeling like you don't really belong to one place. But I guess that, like, the way I would kind of say that I get past this is to remember that I can make my like place wherever I go. So like, it's kind of a nice feeling to know that I don't really have to go back somewhere. Like, my family's kind of spread out all over the world, and I wanna live in the UK eventually. Like, I wanna go back there after I finish studying medicine and work there and everything. So I think it's kind of nice in that way that I can find my place and make my place later where I belong. I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah, it's sad, but it's also kind of nice that I can go multiple places and feel like comfortable or feel a sense of home, if that makes sense. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore, but yeah, it's a hard feeling to feel like you don't belong, and I guess sometimes it just gets to me more than other times. And yeah, right now I'm not in one of those times where it's getting to me, because I've just been in one place for a while and no one's like questioned my existence. I guess like, it gets to me more when someone asks me stuff like, oh, but you're not really Indian, are you? Oh, but you're not really Indonesian, are you? Like, those kind of questions, that's when it really gets to me. But no one said that recently, so I guess I'm just kind of like, meh. Okay, so now for some like fun-ish questions. Which is your favorite cuisine? Out of all the places I've lived, I have to say I love Chinese food, and I miss Chinese food so much, like authentic Chinese food. my time in Shanghai was definitely like the best place I've lived in and like the best country I've lived in. If I could go back to Shanghai, I would. I love the food. I love everything about China. Like, I just honestly wish I never left there, but obviously that didn't happen. But I would really love to go back someday. Like, I love Chinese food so much, and like I eat everything. Like, I'm not even scared. I don't know, like I just eat whatever, even if it's like roadside and everything. Chinese food, and like good Chinese food. The next question is, how many languages do you speak? So technically I speak 4, but I'm learning a 5th right now. So the 4 that I speak is obviously English, Hindi, Bahasa Indonesia, and Mandarin. And the 5th that I'm learning right now is Malay. It's quite similar to Indonesian, so it's not that difficult to learn. But yeah, the last 2 questions are kind of linked, so I'll just answer them together. One is, which place do you resonate most with? And the other one is, which culture do you feel most connected to? So which place do I resonate most? Okay, I guess they're kind of different questions. Resonate, okay, maybe they're the same. I don't really know. I would say that I feel most connected to Indonesia because I have lived the longest in Indonesia. Like, I lived there for 9 years, even though I don't remember most of those years because I was like a child. But I definitely feel the most comfortable there. Like, I think, and the reason for that is I think I'm not as questioned when I'm there that I'm Indonesian as I am when I'm in India. Because in India, like, people will immediately put me as, like, label me as a foreigner. So, but yeah, in Indonesia, no one really does that. Like, they pretty much just, if I can speak the language, they pretty much just assume that I've lived there my whole life, because there are a lot of people like me there. So I guess yeah, I just feel like I resonate the most with Indonesia. I wouldn't say I feel the most at home there, but if I had to pick a country that I felt the most connected to, it would be there, because I'm not questioned about my identity there. Ooh, triggered. But yeah, I guess that's, I don't really know if that's even an answer, but I guess. I'm kind of surprised by that answer actually, if I'm honest, but yeah. The good thing about having lived in many places is I kind of don't really have this sense of attachment to anywhere. So like when we move houses or when we move places, I just kind of feel like, yeah, whatever, yeah, it's just another place. So I've kind of like, I don't know if that's a good thing, but I've kind of lost that like connection to any place. So it's a good thing because I can almost feel at home anywhere and I can feel connected anywhere. But it's also not a good thing because there's like no one place where I'm like, this is home. So yeah, there you go. I just exposed myself. I just answered all these questions and I just talked about being a third culture kid. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and let me know what else you want to see. Just comment down below or send me a message or whatever you want to do. I'm really hoping to be more consistent with posting because I kind of took like a 4-month break unintentionally, but yeah, I'm back, I think. So yeah, let me know what else you want to see and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.